Hi and welcome to the first televised episode of the Great Debaters Contest. I'm your host, George Kariuki. Now, the Great Debaters Contest is a high school debate competition founded by Julie Gishuru and the Jamhuri Peace Foundation in the year 2010. It started with just 4 schools participating and has now grown to include 32 schools in the debates this year, with many more establishing Great Debaters clubs within their schools. Our first motion is certainly controversial. The motion reads, children should be given sex education in schools. How will the students handle this complex topic? Let's get straight to the debate to find out.
Proposing the motion, State House Girls High School. Opposing the motion, Arya Girls High School. Each contestant has 3 minutes to make their submissions. The audience also gets a chance to put their questions to each team. Each side will have an additional 1 minute to make a final statement. The judge's decision is final. But in a twist, the audience also gets to have their say through the popular vote. This will see an extra 5% added to the school that wins this vote. The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with a widescreen TV, computers, webcam, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school will get a 100,000 shillings cash prize. And the winning students will each get a laptop. And together they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win.
Proposal number 1. You have 3 minutes to argue your motion.
Samaki mkunje angali mbichi. Asiyesikia la mkuu huvunjika guu. Na ndio maana lisilobudi hubidi na likibidi hutendwa. Taking my quotations from the cream of wisdom of the early gurus of Swahili, I am Colette Inviolata from the State House Girls High School. The reason why I quoted those quotes earlier on is to show you the necessity of education in the society, and in this case, sexual education. Sexual education refers to instructions relating on human sexuality. That includes birth control methods. It also includes abstinence, human anatomy, anatomical structures, and all that. No wonder I am of the humble opinion that sex education should be taught in our schools. This is because it helps to regulate the poverty index in the society. When population growth is very high, you find that it has a direct bearing to poverty because it results in unemployment. Unemployed people commit crime. And you see, this is because they have been pushed to steal due to their poverty. How about if you embrace sex education? You are taught about the use of contraceptives, use of condoms, and all that family planning method that embrace keeping of small families. And when families are small, population growth rate is slow, and therefore poverty index is regulated. Another benefit of embracing sexual education in schools is that it helps one to have a bargaining power. Nobody can just lure you into doing something because you have sexual education. Like, for example, when somebody tells you, you can use this family planning pills, contraceptives, when you're as early as 14 and all that, but sex education will teach you that these things have a negative impact on your health. Someone who has not been taught on sex education cannot be able to tell that contraceptives have a direct bearing to causing detrimental effects to your health. Therefore, we actually need sexual education. Another benefit of sexual education in high schools is that it enables the students who are taught to be able to dispel the myths that are associated with sex and sexual intercourse. Most of you have been told funny ideas about sex and sexual intercourse, and these are dispelled by getting them clarified through sexual education. Thank you.
Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes to argue your motion.
Hello everyone, my name is Fatima Hassan and I'm from Arya Girls Secondary School, and I'm here to oppose the motion that says children should be taught sexual education in schools. First of all, you know that in schools definitely most of us are teenagers, and you know as teenagers we are so stubborn and persistent. So if you tell a teenager not to do something, that's what he or she is going after. So basically, if you teach them on sexual education, they will wonder, why do you want us to abstain from sex? And yet, they will tend to want to know more as the reason as to why you are preventing them from going for sex. So basically, I will not go for sexual education in schools. And then on to my second point is that parents of nowadays are very strict. You will not find a parent comfortable enough to sit down with his or her kid and discuss about sexual manners, you know. And even in schools, it entails also the dignity of teachers. If you start talking about sex with your students, it's going to create the respect barrier is going to it's going to be destroyed. Because basically, nowadays, you can see in classes and stuff, you can communicate with the teachers comfortably, but once you bring that topic, it's a very sensitive topic to talk to young people. So once you bring it, it's going to create the respect barrier is going to be destroyed. So it should not be introduced in schools. And also, you know the forbidden fruits test treaties, right? So if you tell a teenager that don't do this, I personally do that. Once I'm told, don't do this, I will go for that because I'll know. Why don't you want me to do this? Basically, it's the best thing for me you want me to do. That's why you don't want me to do it. So I will prefer that sex education to be not taught in schools. Thank you.
Proposer number 2, you have 3 minutes to argue your motion.
I'm Catherine Penda from State House Girls, and we all know that forbidden fruits taste bitter, but the seeds are forbidden fruits taste sweet, but the seeds are bitter. Trust you me, you are going to indulge in sex, but later on you will come and suffer the consequences of sex. You will end up getting pregnant, you will end up doing things that you'll end up regretting about. Ladies and gentlemen, I do believe we all have something we call conscience, and if you are well educated, if you are a person of brains, you will not indulge in something that you have been told is wrong, and you know what effects it has on your body. Moving on to that, if you put your point on the base that if I tell you about sex, you will not have respect to me, which I believe is wrong, because if I tell you more about sex, sex is something whereby not many people want to talk about it. So if I come to you and tell you about sex, you as a human being, you'll get that trust. You'll give me that trust because you know you can always confide into me when you have a problem about sex. Can you get me right? Thank you. Then also depends on the relationship. If you might come and think that I as your mom or I as your dad, I might not want to talk to you about sex, but if I do have a strong relationship with you, I as your daughter or I as your son, there's this bond between a daughter and a son. There's this bond between a mom and, you know, the daughter, the parents and the child. And if you do have the bond and if it's strong, it's going to be good if you talk to them about it, because it makes the child feel more free to the mom. I'm going to stop at that because time is of the essence. Thank you.
Proposer number 2, you have 3 minutes to argue your motion.
I am Manju Patel from Arya Girls Secondary School, and first of all, before I oppose whatever they are saying, I am going to tell you that sex is not a bad thing. That's not what we're saying exactly here. We're just saying it's bad if it's done at the wrong time, true? Yes, of course it is. So what we're basically saying is that it should not be taught in schools. This is because, example, if you're taught it in the first lesson, in the second and the third lesson, you will not concentrate. Why? You will be thinking about sex in the first lesson, of course. Secondly, someone you trust, someone you love, someone who loves you should be the one to tell you about sex. If it was not for sex, would I be here? Would you be here? Would you be here? Yeah. So I strongly suggest that your parent or your guardian should be the one to tell you about sex. They should tell you about condoms. They should tell you about contraceptives. I beg your pardon. It's the, inheritance. So I'm saying your parents should be the one to tell you, not your teachers. If your English teacher or let's say your health teacher tells you about sex, you will look at them and go like, oh my God, who taught you this? So I'm just telling you, you should cross the border. It's the safest place. We did not go to school to learn about sex. We went to learn physics, biology, and all the other subjects, not sex. Thank you.
Stacy Mikuzi from Nembu Girls. Coming up after the break, more debates, more questions from the audience, and of course, more excitement. Stay tuned.
The motion states about introducing sex education in schools. We're only focusing on high schools. What about the primary schools? And we have so many schools, so many levels of schools. So, could you please elaborate?
I have a question to the opposer. Now that you've said sex education should not be taught in schools, and the second speaker said parents. Apparently in our current society, parents spend little time with us students. So I have a question. Give other suggestions on how you think it should be done instead of sex education in schools.
My name is Tabitha from Olympic. My question goes to the opposers. They've talked about biology in schools. We should not learn about sex education, but we should learn subjects like biology. Don't you think biology also covers part of sex education?
Proposer number 3, this is your opportunity to answer the questions. You have 3 minutes.
I'll start with the second question. The motion states that children should be given sex education in schools, not only in high schools, but generally in schools. Because generally statistics say that these days, due to the excessive chemicals we consume, the adolescent state starts at an early age. Therefore, we strongly feel that sex education should be given in school so that the children may be made aware of the dangers and also how the sex education is going to help them in their lives. On to the first question. My teacher told me a story that in one of the high schools, there was increasing sexual activity whenever people went for their functions. And then one of the teachers just had to come and show them a clip on how different STDs, their effects, and how people who are suffering from them look like. And that was enough to make the students from that school stop whatever they were doing. It was through that sexual education they came to know the disadvantages. Because generally, if we're talking amongst ourselves, we rarely tell about the negative effects. We just say that, oh, sex is like this, sex is like that. But it is through sex education that we are going to know the disadvantages and even how to counteract the effects that come with indulging in sexual activities at an early age. And lastly, I strongly feel that sex education should be taught in schools because it is through sex education we are going to know how to take care of ourselves. Like, for example, the general reproductive health, how to take care of our bodies, how to wash ourselves so that we can avoid future ailments. Like, for example, cervical cancer. It is becoming a major problem in Kenya, and it is through sex education in schools we are going to know how to counteract that. Thank you.
Opposer number 3. Time to answer your questions. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Naima. I'm from Area Girls. First, I would like to answer your questions on, apart from teachers and parents who can educate you about sexual education, you have a best friend, don't you? We all share secrets with best friends, and I'm sure she's the right person to tell you because you're so comfortable with her. And I don't mean any friend, I mean your best friend. As in real sense, when you have a boyfriend, the first person to know about it is your best friend, isn't it? So why can't you talk to her about sex? It's not something bad, and I'm sure your friend knows a lot about it. Coming to the next question, which was? Yeah, biology. Biology teaches sex. It doesn't go into much deeper sex. It only teaches you the basics. It only teaches you the basics. And as high school, we are not talking only about high school. We are talking about primary school also. So how can you go teaching a class 4 kid about sex? Obviously, he's a kid. He's not mature enough. He'll go running around telling everyone about sex. And that's so indecent. Lastly, I would like to add that sometimes exposing sex is against some religious and moral supports. For example, I am a Muslim. I am not supposed to be exposed about sex before marriage. That's against my religion. So if I go home telling my mom that I learned about sex today, obviously she's gonna come to school and talk to my teacher and say, why are you teaching my daughter all this? And she's too young for it. Seriously, I am under 18. I'm not supposed to learn all that. I know it's okay for you to have sex, but not now. And learning about sex right now is not good. You can learn it in college and university levels because you're mature enough to understand everything. Like my colleague said, you're going to run, as in you're told not to do this, you're going to go around doing it. For example, when we were kids, we were told chocolates are bad, but still, did we stop? Instead, we liked chocolates more than anything else, isn't it? Thank you.
I'll call on proposer number 1. With your final statement, you have 1 minute.
Can a veterinary doctor treat a human being? No. That is why there are people who are specialized to provide sex education. Not all parents have the necessary skills to provide sexual education, so they are not suited for the role. Experience is the worst teacher because lessons come after the mistakes are made. If we do not equip you with the necessary skills to combat the dangers of irresponsible sexual behavior, you will learn when it is too late. You are claiming that the Muslim religion does not talk about sexual behavior. In my previous definition of sexual education, I said it also involves teaching on emotional relations. The Muslims realized about the emotional relationships of human beings, and that is why ladies are covered up respectfully the way they are. Isn't that part of sex education? Therefore, sexual education should be given to students in schools. I thank you for your audience.
Opposer number 1, you have 1 minute for your closing argument.
Okay, I just want to side up with our opposition side. Basically, if you are someone who stands by your principle, you believe in yourself and you have self-drive, why go for people to teach you on sexual education? You believe in yourself and you have your own self-drive. So basically, you believe in yourself. You have to drive yourself to an extent that you think, I believe in myself and I can do whatever that I want, which which is better for me. But you cannot depend on somebody else to do that for you. So I don't think it should be taught in schools. You have your own self-drive, you believe in yourself, you can make it, you can nail it anywhere, anytime. So I don't believe it.
Thank you very much. Now we go to comments from our judges.
I think we have seen passion, haven't we? We have seen conviction. We have seen, very good mastery of language. We have seen, you're able to defend yourself. You're very articulate. You are able to get the audience's attention, which is what a debate, should be about. And this was across the board, in both the teams and all the, all the debaters.
If it were my wish, I could see that the two groups make the next stage. If it was my wish. But because only one has to go, I hope that the team that does not make it will go home knowing that they did a good job. Thank you.
Excellent introductions, all of you. Introductory statements, strong. Background information, research. A couple of things I will point out, and I will say this was an excellent debate. So when I point out a couple of things, these are really specific issues that, I managed to pick out from the debate. Use of language. At one point, can you get me right? It doesn't quite sound right, yes? Do you understand my perspective? Do you understand my position is maybe a more accurate way of putting it? How they look like. We do that a lot in Kenya. How they look like. But the like is unnecessary. It's how they look. You can just stop it there. So it's really simple use of language that would take your debate to another level. Let me come to the ladies on this side. I think, Arya, what you managed to do was inject so much of your personality into your debate that people really had a ball, and you could hear the audience responding and reacting to what you were saying, and it made it very exciting. I think you opened up with an argument that teenagers are stubborn. Again, you can improve use of language. There were several instances. Because of time, maybe I won't be able to go into them. But, the sentence, frame it in your mind, and make sure when it does come out, even if you need bullet points, that could be helpful, but let it come out coherently, flowing, and making a lot of sense, rather than some of the sentences which were a bit disjointed, maybe is the word I'd use. But an excellent level of debate for both teams. Thank you.
How many feel that the proposing team had a better argument? By a show of hands, can we have it? How many feel that the opposing team had a better argument? Are you raising both hands? No? There you have it.
The judges voted State House Girls High School 82%, and Arya Girls Secondary School 79%. But with 5% from the audience vote, that takes Arya Girls Secondary School to 84%. State House Girls 82%. So Arya, move on.
And the winning school is Arya. Can we congratulate State House Girls for a remarkable job? We wish you the best on the next level of the competition. This has been the Great Debaters. Keep watching. I'm George Kariuki.
Next week on the Great Debaters Contest.
Negative advertising on political campaigns provides a platform for learning, and a learning platform for future leaders.
Future leaders will have fun knowing that they will not inherit the dubious accolades left by the previous leaders.
The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with a widescreen TV, computers, webcam, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school will get a 100,000 shillings cash prize. And the winning students will each get a laptop. And together they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win!